Hello and welcome back to the Minetrek games, sir. Currently over on the E project here. This will probably serve as a little bit of an update on the E build. At least I'll bill it as episode 33. Anywho, I went ahead and mocked up a corridor along the lower quadrant of the ship, underside of the primary hall, where there are escape boats, just to see what it would look like. And let's go ahead and take a closer look here. Looks pretty good. I went with a custom door thing just because it looked good. It's probably, I don't know if this will actually be used or not, but just something I did. Anyways, you'll see some dark areas, and that's just because I haven't filled them in completely. This is subject to change, so don't think that it will actually be a permanent fixture, but we'll leave it up for the time being, give people kind of an idea of what it's going to look like when it's completed. With any luck, similar to it. Things will change, like door frames will probably change. The columns might get shifted to something else. We don't know yet. Might even get a different carpet texture. Oh, speaking of carpet, it was brought to my attention that my last video may have generated some animosity over my comments regarding the EVA locker. To the people that were offended, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend. I was just stating my opinion, and as such, it's just my opinion. And don't worry about it. Don't take it personal. I meant nothing by it. You all have my respect, my admiration. You're all good builders. It's just that it reminded me of a bullseye, something you throw darts at. I just didn't like the color scheme. That being said, that's just me talking, so please don't be offended by it. This is the lower EVA locker, and it just looks more functional to me. So I like this, but then again, those guys like that up there, so it's really, what they want to do. I respect them, and if they want to use carpet in here and do what they did up there, feel free to do it, guys. Just go with what you think looks best, and that's really it in a nutshell. Just go with what you guys think looks best. And if I complain about it, don't worry about it. If it's really important or really want to make a case for it to be changed, I will. Or anything that I have an issue with. Otherwise, it's just me talking, thinking out loud and stuff. And please, again, I don't know who did that, and whoever did it, as far as the carpet goes, just keep in mind it means nothing if I'm bitching about stuff. Okay, it's nothing personal at all. If I wanted to make it personal, then I'd like, this son of a bitch did this, and I won't beat his ass. Okay, so with that being said, please forgive me, guys. Just atro being atro. Anywho, get busy here. I went ahead and put up some walls, interior walls through here, just to sort of kind of get the feel for the area. And there's some areas here. I'm going to go ahead and go back into here again. That are hollow through here, and what I'm thinking about doing is putting little subsystems in here behind these walls where I can, like little battery packs, little auxiliary systems for the lifeboat. So if main power goes out, the lifeboat backup systems, those big rooms that adjacent to these silos and stuff, all the silos, it's like one room to 4 silos. So if those systems go down, then each individual silo will have its own individual power source as a backup source. So it's like a redundancy. And this is, I forget what this is called, but I thought it was like part of the transporter system, but it's not some sort of a sensor thingamajiggy. So I went ahead and made sure that it has as much room as possible. But I don't, because I really don't know how big this is going to be. Obviously it's going to be at least, the array itself is going to be at least this big. So any support equipment like nodes and EPS nodes and power distribution things will be down here, of course, but with other little specialty things being here, we might even put like a little catwalk system around here so it's actually raised up above the floor, or in this case the hull. And I think that's probably what we'll end up doing, is have like a little catwalk system and then have this all be equipment, and this will be a wall for the Jeffries tube. And when you get down here, I went ahead and set aside little spaces here for lifeboat subsystems and another lifeboat subsystem through here, like I said, like batteries or something, and I have enough space in most of the builds to actually squeeze them in like this. So every one of them will have one, something like this, and they might even have one on both sides. It just depends on, how it plays out and stuff. So keep that in mind. These will just be like little subsystems in support of the bigger systems, which I think I want to repurpose. Well, I was thinking about repurposing one of these rooms for something I can't recall. Okay, here's another subsystem room. Yeah, I think it's down here. Okay, this isn't marked as anything other than a lifeboat system, so it's a little narrow. So I was thinking we got a big open head area here, which is really large for this deck. We should move this to further upward, be more useful, and then possibly put auxiliary batteries or something here in addition to what's already on this level. This is mainly just a machine support level, kind of like where you would find, like in a hotel, the basement area or the very rooftop. This would be like the basement, and all the machinery that handles a lot of the way things float to the ship would be on this deck for the saucer anyways. And I was thinking we did that, we could turn this into a restroom, and then back here this would be a support of these silos, and then this would be a storage locker, and this would be another, like a smaller conference room or something like that, and this would be in support of silo systems or lifeboat systems. So this would be, that room there would be moved to this room right here, maybe possibly this room, and this one would become like a small little office or conference room or something, just a little dinky thing. But that's what I'm thinking, and I'm going to run it by Em. He'll probably see this video before I have a chance to talk to him about it and see what he thinks. I'm not sure, what do we have here? This is another head. So this would work best for a head location actually. So we could turn this big head up here, move it, this one, move it further forward to, say, this little corner nub right here. And I'll go ahead and mark that out real quick. So we have a head here, and this is a lounge, so it would actually work pretty good, because we also have this big area right here, and this is another head for it right here. And I gotta tell you, at first I was really reluctant about adding these things in, but the guys went through and they did a really smart thing. They went ahead and where it met the exterior walls, they laid up magenta. So kudos to you guys, good job on that. In fact, I want to point out one of these little areas here in a minute that when I came across it, I was like, that is a really good idea. But yeah, I'd like to move that head, this big head thing here, because it's really not needed. This is really excessive for this deck, and this is, like I said, this is a maintenance kind of a thing deck, maintenance support deck, so it would be better served up here, or in this area here instead. And this is slated as a lounge too. I don't know if we should have this as a lounge or not, because there's no windows, and when you spin around here, you can see what I mean. So where the separation plane of the two hulls would actually be at. So this would be support machinery. I would say this is support machinery, not a head. Whoops. Just because, why would you have so many heads on a deck that didn't really have a lot of crew members on it? So maintenance and other things would be more appropriate for there. Again, I would repurpose this. And if we are going to have a head, I would use this as a head instead of an lifeboats. And this would be lifeboat supports. Well, see what this actually says here. Support systems. No, because it's handled from that side, so I would say not lifeboats. There's not. Whoops. Not. If I get my spacebar to work here. Not LB, but locker. So, and this is another head. I would say support equipment, not a head. The reason for it is, again, there's no reason to have so many large areas set aside as heads. I mean, I got another area back here that would work for another head, especially if we got one right up there. We don't need one right here. Just saying. I mean, if anything, this could be like a small EVA locker. You know, in case they have to go outside via one of the silos, they'd have like another small EVA locker up here. In fact, small. Mark that as a small EVA locker idea. And let's just sit here, unknown. Let's just go ahead and make this a conference or LB main support. That way there, I'll leave it up to him because I got the components already made for lifeboat support, and it would fit in here just fine. But it also would fit in here just fine. So LB support or smaller conference room. Now, I realize my spelling is atrocious, and I apologize for that. You'll have to forgive me. I have a real difficult time seeing. In fact, I just had to switch back to one of my older monitors from one of the new monitors I have. And my new monitor, it's an Asus brand, same as my older monitor, but I just have a really difficult time reading the fonts on it, even with the setup I have. I still find that I'm using my magnifying glass more and more with it. So I went back to my old monitor, which allows me to see longer before I have to switch to the magnifying glass. Interesting story. I'll tell you a little story here about monitors. A few years back, I went to a convention, a LAN convention, and about 275, 300 people showed up for the event on day one. And we all set up our computers inside of the conference room, not lounge, but a big room. I don't know what they'd call those, just a big, huge meeting room. And a lot of people in there, generated a lot of heat. Everybody had to work, computers were on tables, and he had LAN connections all wired through everything. And at the end of the day, the event guys were saying, people around 4 or 5 each day, everyone's like, okay, we're going to break for the evening. We're going to go to the night events, which are conference, guest speakers coming and talk and stuff like that. So it was at a different part of the hotel. And this is a AAA hotel. The rooms on this thing average on discount no less than $350 a night. And I was mid-range. So you can imagine I was paying a little bit more than $350 a night to be there. And I was invited, which is kind of interesting. I was invited by a small group of people to come, and I just had to pay for, my hotel room, and then everything else was covered. So I'm into it about $1,500, $1,600 at this point, and I'm buzzing around there, and we all decided, hey, let's go to this thing, and we'll go get some dinner later on. And the event people, this lady stands up, she says, okay, you can leave all your equipment and stuff here. We have security. It'll all be safe. Nothing will happen to it. Blah, blah, blah. It's open 24/7. If you want to come in and use it or play, do whatever, just feel free. And we'll keep the game servers running and all this stuff. Well, cool. So we leave. We go to the guest speaker thing, and after about 2 hours, and it's around 6:30, almost 7, we decided to go to the hotel restaurant for food. And we go in there and we're ordering, and to say this place is expensive is an understatement. I ordered just the cheapest thing on the menu, which was a salad, cost $35 fucking dollars. Excuse my language. I couldn't believe it, and I didn't get to eat the salad after I ordered it because while we're sitting there ordering it, somebody came up to our table and says, "Hey, you guys are with that convention thing going on, right? That LAN thing?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "So are we. Guess what they're doing?" And so what they're doing, they said they moved all of our equipment. They're breaking down the equipment and they're putting it on those carts and sticking it in the hallway for anybody to come by and just take anything they want from it. I said, what the hell are you talking about? And, the two guys I was with, they took their equipment with them. They took their laptops with them, and big, bulky gaming laptops. Back then, they weren't the powerhouses you needed for gaming laptops could handle. Nowadays, you're looking at $3,000-$4,000 for a laptop to handle some of the games. Anyways, so these guys, we've got ours right here, we're cool. And I'm like, well, I don't. I left it there. They said it was going to be safe. And the guy's like, well, you better go get it and take it up to your hotel room. So I leave, and I go over there, and sure enough, they had a bunch of what looked like, to be honest with you, people that you'd hire that stand outside of Home Depot, looking for work, moving shit. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about these guys. These guys were very polite, very nice. The ones that could speak English were very helpful. I found my stuff pretty close to where it was originally. but it was all taken apart. I had to look around for cables, and all my stuff was labeled with my name on it. A little tape tag with my name wrapped around it, and they were very good about where I guess they marked. They have a seating chart, so everybody was seated according to their chart, and they put their names on their equipment and just stacked it up real nicely. Well, I found my tower, I found my mouse, I found my keyboard, found most of my cables. I think I was missing a power cable and a DVI cable. And this was back when flat top monitors first started coming out, and they weren't cheap. They were $300, $400, $500. Mine was a mid-range Asus, one of the first Asus made, and it was about $450. And I really like this monitor. I'll grant it's getting a little yellow around the edges. It flickers here and there, but I can read it. I like it. It works good for me. At least right now it is, until I can find a suitable replacement that I like. And yeah, I couldn't find it. Could not find my monitor. And I looked all over, and I asked the guy, I says, well, where's my stuff? And I says, well, go look outside. I said, I've looked outside. I've looked at every one of your carts you have out in the hallway. He says, well, people have been coming in and out and getting their stuff as they find out that the room's being moved. And I was like, you guys don't have anybody out there watching this stuff? He says, no. He says, well, who was in here when you guys came in? And he says, oh, just some computer guy working on computers. And he's kind of briefly described the guy as looks like me, in other words, Caucasian. And I was like, wow, dang, dude. I think my crap got stolen. So I get a hold of the night manager of the hotel, and I said, hey, what's going on here? Don't you guys have security? Where security goes, oh, we have 24-hour security. He says, really? Well, I need to talk to your security guy. My stuff has been stolen. I think somebody else has stolen some other stuff too. And he's like, oh, well, we have 24-hour security cameras. I'm like, you said you have 24-hour security. Well, yeah, we have 24-hour security cameras. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this place? Where's your security guy? Oh, he's off for the night. So I have to wait till the morning to talk to him. Yeah. I says, well, I'm going to call the police and file a theft report. Oh, I'd talk to security first. I said, okay, I'll wait till morning. I'll talk to the security guy. Well, in the meantime, I go back to my hotel room with my tower, and I don't know what else to do, so I call home and get my roommate to pull up the records, pull my computer records up and find everything he could on the monitor. Well, he found the original receipt for it, and it had the serial number on it, thank God. And he read off the serial number to me. I wrote it down. I figured I'll need that for the police report, and then I could send anything else, that they need. I could fill it out and mail it in. Back then, email really wasn't the thing. It was just sort of becoming, commonplace to switch to it. But a lot of people hadn't done that yet. A lot of agencies sure as hell hadn't done it. Everything was still done, pen and paper with a stamp, snail mail, or in person. Anyways, next morning rolls around, and I walk out there, and I see the event person, and she's kind of a, pardon the impression, a real difficult woman to deal with on the best of occasions. Anywho, she's like, oh, we told everybody that they had to pull their stuff. And I'm like, no, you didn't. I was here. She says, well, you must have left when we made the announcement. I says, I was one of the last people to leave the room. You didn't. You left before I did. When did you make this announcement? She said, well, you were just mistaken, sir. Real prissy. And then I met the manager of the hotel. I was so mad at this guy after 2 minutes of talking to him. I literally wanted to slap the rainbow out of this guy. I wanted to smack him until he saw nothing but black and effing white. This guy was to say he was a dick would be an understatement. This guy was pure dick. And rude, obnoxious, condescending, just treated me like I was, nothing but a common. I make more money than that son of a bitch at that time. And I'll tell you what, I was not a happy camper. It really was not a happy camper. So I decided, you know what, everybody's at the convention or at the thing doing their LAN thing. I'm just going to go around there until I look around just on the off chance that I might find my monitor. I went through there, and like I said, 200-300 people easily. And I think it's actually gotten bigger in the next day, which was a Saturday. And there were going to be more people. And I looked all over that room. I looked at every monitor, and I didn't find one monitor like mine. Not one. I was about ready to give up. And the only area of the room I hadn't checked was where the event coordinator's area was at. So I figured I'll walk over there and see if she, just on the off chance, had heard anything. I'm walking over there, and son of a gun, I see my monitor sitting on a desk. Oh, cool, they found it. I guess I made a mistake. And I walk over there, and I look at my monitor, and I start and I notice it was hooked up to a computer. Why is it hooked up to a computer? And I crouch down and I tilt the monitor forward and look underneath of it, and sure enough, it's got my serial numbers and everything else. And I says, well, I'll just take my monitor. And this guy comes up to me. He's, I don't know, almost 6 foot guy, maybe 90 pounds, long black hair rolled up into like a little onion on the back of his head. So he looked like he had an extra little ball of hair back there. He had a, like 3 days worth of beard, gross stubble stuff, dark hair, whiter than white. And he just really loud goes, "What the hell are you doing?" Looked at the guy, innocently, and I said, "Well, I'm taking my monitor." And he goes, "F you, that's my monitor. What the F do you think you're effing doing?" And I tell you, wrong thing to say to me. At that point, I was like, "Really? This is your monitor? Mm. Then do you have $350 to pay me for what it cost me?" And the guy looks at me and goes, "That's my effing monitor. What the? I'm going to call security." And at this point, you could hear a pin drop in this place. I mean, everybody's watching us. I looked at that guy and says, "Look here, sister." I didn't know what else to say. Uh, this is my monitor, and you're an effing thief, and I'm taking my monitor, and anybody else who ended up missing shit needs to come up here and look at this desk and see if any of their stuff is here, because last night, you pricks told us our stuff would be safe, and it wasn't, and now I'm coming up here to get what belongs to me, and if you don't like it, call the cops, because I can prove this is mine. Can you? And the guy's like, doesn't say anything. He just sits there and looks at me, gawked, slack-jawed, and says, "I've got the serial number. The product's registered. You want to say it's yours? Prove it, because I can." And I took my monitor. Anyways, the event coordinator, she's like all sorts of pissed off. I mean, telling me I have to leave the event and everything else. And I told her, I said, the only way I'm leaving this event is if you reimburse the people that paid me to be here. You reimburse me for my hotel costs, and you pay me for all the suffering and stress this caused me. Otherwise, I'm staying in the event. I'm going to tell everybody that your son, which at that time I had just found out was her son, was a fucking thief. Turned out, he not only stole my monitor, he stole a pair of video cards out of a guy's computer. The mouse he was using wasn't his mouse. Somebody claimed that, and I think they even claimed the keyboard. Somebody claimed the keyboard is theirs. I don't know the validity of those guys' comments, but I do know the one guy had said that those were his video cards. His system was missing its video cards, and I remember seeing it laying on a table with its side open. So, because I distinctly remember seeing a computer with the side open, I don't know if it was his or not. But long story short, yeah, I got my monitor back, and I ended up getting the hotel room for free, so I got reimbursed my closer to $1,600, and the people that invited me, they never went to another one of those events again, not run by those people anyways. That event coordinator, although, we reached in my best at his terms is they reached an agreement with me, whereas I agreed not to mention what the event was, when it was, who ran the event, or her name or any of the names involved, and that I would not press charges against her son for grand larceny. In exchange, they would reimburse us for the entire costs, and the hotel was really embarrassed because of the fact that they said they had 24-hour security, and they didn't. They had 24-hour security cameras, and evidently they had an issue with theft there, so I don't know. But I can't mention their name either, but let's just say that, it's one of the bigger chains. And leave it at that. Anyways, back to the Enterprise. That was kind of a long-winded short story, wasn't it? Well, I like my monitor. I'm glad I got it back. It looks a little different. I'm looking at some of the stuff. I'm not seeing the same colors. The purples here, or the magenta isn't as magenta-ish. That's one thing I did like about the other monitor. The colors were a lot deeper. But at least I can read stuff. Pretty much. I can read the chat. I can read what I write on a sign if I write something on a sign. But not going to write on a sign. M's been working on this Aztecing up here. And as you all know, the Aztecing is not permanent. It's just something, it's an ongoing project that M. Heller has been working on. And he was pretty busy yesterday working on the saucer here, so I'm kind of eager to see what he's gotten done. I guess he's removed part of the Aztecing stuff because it was on last night when I logged off. No, it looks like he's been very busy, in fact, down here. Wow. All that sand you see down there, that's part of the pattern, so it's there intentionally. he's probably closing off a lot of the excess windows and stuff that like I said, I'd put a lot of windows on this because I wasn't sure where we were going to have the windows, and I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that this is a crew quarter and whatever this is. So put windows everywhere, but they weren't really needed. And we figured, well, if we didn't need them, we could always fill them back in later. And that looks like what he's doing. It looks good. I gotta say, yeah, this Aztecing is really nice, even though it's just a work in progress. It looks like we just lost somebody. Was kicked from Minetrek. Oh no, he was kicked off the IRC channel for idling. Whew. He's got the Aztecing set up for down here, which will eventually, I'm not sure, he might actually flip the ship to do this. And if he does that, all those item frames and stuff that people had put up are going to get lost. Anyways, let's get up in here because I want to show you that little area that I found that when I saw it or ran across it, I was like, this is really nice. Really nice work done in here. Granted, I'm not a fan of doing too much work on the ship until things are, well, situated better. Reason for that mainly is because it'll get screwed up. Item frames, if the ship gets moved, the item frames will get twisted around and they might drop off or they might cause issues. And every now and then, when I come across an area that has item frames, I get a lag spike. You can see down here, looks like somebody's already put a bathroom in and stuff. That stuff there, a little out of the way things. Workers need their bathrooms. That's why they're in here. I'm coming through here and I'm placing these corridors, columns through here, and I notice this. This is really a cool idea, guys. Seriously. I gotta say, just a little jaunt up here in here and then come back down. You don't have to go down the corridor into there to do it. That was a really, really cool idea there, guys. Hats off. Very nice. Anywho, back to here, I've been laying out these corridor pathings, or columns for the corridor pathings. And I'm doing pretty good, but I keep running into little areas, and I'll show you one here real quick. As we transition from this angle to this right here, this angle, it's a bit of a headache, and I knew it was going to be because it's a round hall, well, semi-round hall, and so yeah, so we have to do it kind of creatively, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge. But I had I've been kind of working on that a little bit in areas. I thought for sure it was on this deck here. It probably isn't. I just didn't see it. Yes, it is right here. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of showing how to make the transition. And again, this isn't permanent. I got another one back there that's all sort of kind of funky above the impulse engines. It has another area similar to this that's transitions from an angle to a sharp angle, three-way hallway corridor. So a lot of care and stuff's going to have to be done. And once you do it on one area, you can mirror it above and below. In this case, it's just like one deck below, and then the rest of them are above it, because I don't think it does the same thing down. Yeah, it's a difference. So it's all above us now. And I figured if I get this deck laid out and the deck above it laid out, then everything above it would be a cakewalk for the forward section of the ship. And I tell you, it's nice when they all come together and they all fit real nice. But when you get around those corners, man, it becomes a real bear to do. Come through here real quick. Also, I extended the corridor to this lift here all the way up. I realized that it was kind of a dumb idea, what I was thinking about, and that there are scenes in the ship where you see people come out of a turbo lift looking at somebody else coming out of a turbo lift. And since this is more or less an express lift, it won't be used as often, but if it is, they can, whatever. But it seemed like the right thing to do through this area here. And it still leaves the whole area open around it all the way up, including the areas above us. And there's another two-story area above us. It's a pretty big area. This is a pretty significant life support system for these decks. Heck, the life support systems on these decks could probably run the entire ship if it had to be ran. And you do want redundancy, so there's the one here that'll be mirrored on the other side, and they have the one system here that will be mirrored to the other side, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be interesting, I'll tell you, if not bothersome. But the nice thing is once one system's in, it can be mirrored to the system above it, and so on and so forth. Also been putting in these walls here just to show people where the stuff goes and things like that. This is one of those areas where transitions is a little bit more difficult. I cleaned it up a little bit, It transitions from here to this system back to this system. So it's just kind of, I don't know. Beforehand, excuse me, a little nerve twitch there. I had a column here, and I just, as much as I tried to get it to work, it just really wasn't coming together for me. So I decided to go with something like this. Somebody else will probably have a better idea. If they do, feel free to mock it up, do whatever you want to do, clean it up. These cross beams may not even be used in this section. We might just ignore them completely. I don't know. But I mirrored it all the way down, well as I could. In this section here, it cleans up a lot nicer. It really does. But as it transitions, it comes from here around this corner that way or this way. I also, down here, added in the interior wall to the impulse bay. And as you can see, here's another, crew worker restroom, and they used magenta as the outside wall. Thank you guys for doing that. Come through here. This will, of course, be a Jeffries tube, so you won't really see this. I can tell you that, well, I thought we had a corridor here. Well, we don't. We have it back here. I might repurpose this into a corridor. I don't know yet, to be honest with you. In fact, I'm thinking that this should actually be a corridor because there's no reason for it to be a Jeffries tube. And if it's going to be a corridor, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 wide. I'm going to have to move this wall in, or it doesn't really need to be a corridor, to be honest with you. It can just be a Jeffries tube because they can access this area of the ship from above. I think Mad Knight actually talked about this. Yeah, I remember him asking me about that. Yeah, I think I'll just go ahead and leave it as a Jeffries tube for now. No, they don't even going to worry about it. Like I said, they can access it from above. I do want to put another gangway somewhere back here, as well as down in the secondary hall as well, about forward section of the secondary hall. Because I realized when I was working down there that a lot of those areas, you got to go quite a distance before you step down. So, or find another gangway, because we have the main gangway that comes down right above the captain's yacht right there. And then we have another secondary one that only comes down so far up to there. And there's really not much through here until you get about there, and then it kind of goes down again. So I want to put a couple more gangways into the design, just to be on the safe side, redundancy kind of a thing. I also copied this and dropped it down there, so we have a master copy of it. Because what I'll do is I'll mirror that side of the ship and over here, and then I'll take this and I'll place it into the ship, and then I'll put that back on the ship in sections. And I wanted this section out of the ship for that in case something gets screwed up. I'll have an actual master copy of it. It's kind of what I plan to do with the sick bay as well. And guys, if you really want to, feel free to go ahead and start working on the sick bay, security complex. It's not something that it would be appreciated if anybody wanted to take that on and try to do something nice with it. And you can pull it off the ship, or because I believe I have a master copy of it, but I think it got deleted. I'll have to pull it out again and set it down there. But feel free to go ahead and work on it on the ship. If it doesn't work, we can always redo it later. Just saying. And we also need to consider working on this parking bay as well. I'm not real sure the direction to take on it. It looks like Mad was starting something here, but he hasn't been on lately, and I don't know if he had wanted to leave this area for him, or if he just doesn't care if somebody else works on it. But in the meantime, I really would like to start getting this done. At least get this mocked up into something that we could work with other than a big empty room. I don't even know which shuttles we're going to have on the ship other than the ones that are up here, which is the Argo, and looks like 2 other types up there. How many of them we're going to park down here, how they're going to be parked, and so on. So that's food for thought. I'm sorry, guys, it does. It looks like something you threw a darts at. I'm just saying. How about dart I throw at it right now? Get a bullseye. Yeah. Bullseye. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's going on here. Did some other rework with the columns. I'm pretty happy with their placement now. I think they're pretty solid as far as placement goes. And I think I covered pretty much all the changes I did down here as far as additional rooms and corridor pathings and stuff. I haven't gotten back, nobody's gotten back to me yet as far as what this room here is, so I think there's a sign on it now. We'll go and look at it. No, no sign, darn it. I need to know what this is, guys, I really do. Is it a lounge? Is it, what is it? I mean, is it a fruit bar, berry bar? I don't know. There's a sign here, let's see what it says. Chess games. So it's some sort of rest and relaxation area. Do we really need it? I'm just asking. I mean, but, you know, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right here. Just, I don't know what it is. Are there going to be tables in here and this is just something? I don't know. I'm just confused by it. That's all. I just need somebody to kind of explain to me what it is and, you know, what the idea behind it is. Just curious. Otherwise, I think, you know, it should get lost, be removed in the area, be used a little bit more openly if it's going to be an open area. But again, it's really up to you guys. I just need to know. I'm just curious. And I will be working on this area here again. Again, this is just a square room, but having square corridor or square catwalks around it looked really, I don't know, half-ass. That's the best way to put it. The best thing to do on this is just wait on this for a while because this might actually change. And at this point, I would just leave it for me to do this because I have an idea how I want to do it without, you know, having too much an issue. And if you guys want to know what I'm thinking Voyager-ish. So it wouldn't have just square catwalks. The catwalks would literally be sculpted around the core, with the core being open in the center, with the center beam catwalk going across it at the midpoint, which would be right here. Then the upper and lower parts of it would be open as well. That's what I'm thinking about it, and it'll look good. Trust me. If it doesn't look good, then you guys can do whatever you want with it. I'm going to give it a shot, and if I can't do it, then I'll leave it to somebody else who wants to do it, and see what we can come up with at that point. Anyways, I do appreciate taking time to watch. Again, this is the Minetrek.net game server. I apologize if I got a little long-winded and toothy there, but it is what it is. We'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. Also, if you'd visit our Facebook page and give us a like, and or if you'd like to, M. Heller set up a donation page. He's the guy that right now out of pocket runs the server, so any donations to help him with that would be greatly appreciated. And again, for all of us here on the Minetrek server, those of us who enjoy building and stuff, and we all appreciate all the support y'all have been giving us, watching the videos, coming on, talking to us, hanging out, chilling, all that stuff is greatly appreciated. And have a great day. Bye-bye.